Within Springbrook High School, there is a program distinct from the rest, a program whose students are motivated, who see one another frequently, form a tight community, learn not only to gain knowledge, but to question it, and what's more, to apply their knowledge. This is a program that is international in focus, yet also encourages helping the world around you. This is the International Baccalaureate program. These are Springbrook's students of IB. This is their life.
My name is Caroline Pasigi, and this is my second year in the IB program at Springbrook.
My name is Jordan Swadago. My full name is Jordan Jacobson Winter at Salvador. My parents actually wanted to give me a hyphen name, but they said it would be too long.
My name is Rachel Young, and I've been in the IB program for 2 years.
My name is Ben Howard. I've been in the IB program for 2 years, well, coming on 2 years, obviously, because it's a 2-year program.
My name is Pavi, and this is my second year in the IB program.
My name is Michael Pankyu. I'm in 12th grade. I'm in the IB program because I feel it's going to give me the challenges and rigors I'm going to need for college.
With the opening of Blake High School about 10 years ago, some programs were added. The choice process came in where students from our 5 feeder middle schools could pick a high school, and in addition to the programs already offered, an International Baccalaureate program was added.
IB is a very rigorous program. You really have to be motivated. You have to be passionate about learning, really have an interest for learning. There are 6 different groups the students must sit for. So one would be Group 1, which is English. There's a foreign language component, there's a history component, a science, a math, and then there's one that kind of floats out there that could either be an art, which we have here, IB visual art, or it could be another history, or it could be another science.
My name is Lynn Mantello, and I've been an IB English teacher for the past 7.5 years here at Springbrook. Writing is difficult. It's also, though, just such a valuable skill to have. And writers are usually never happy with their writing, so I keep telling them that.
Well, there's obviously an emphasis on writing with Ms. Mandello's English essays and all of that.
When I look back at my 10th grade writing, and I look at a paper that I write now, before I was just writing paragraphs and saying what was streaming off the top of my head, which was okay, but it wasn't a clear and defined idea. Now I'm able to take my argument and put it into words and support my argument through the books that we read.
We read a lot of poetry. The 2 poets who are represented on our syllabus are Robert Frost and John Donne. However, we read poems by other poets too. The novels, gosh, that's our biggest category, really, I think, or is it? Come to think of it. Maybe drama and novel are about equally represented. I have to do the math on that.
Before I was really with Mantello, I would read a poem and say, okay, that's nice. I'd get the overarching idea, but I really wouldn't delve into what the poet was trying to tell me. And I guess in that sense, I really appreciate how she's enabled us to really feel what the poet wanted us to feel.
And what makes IB to me such a wonderful course of study is that the assessments are stellar and so very challenging and very much skill-based, so that it really does take you 2 years, takes strong students even 2 full years of constant reading and writing to work up to the point where they can do very, very well on the final 2 papers, which are 2 two-hour essays.
I'm Mrs. Willits. I teach the French IB, higher level and standard level.
French I really love. I'm a huge foreign language person, and our teacher is really great, Madam Willits. She really incorporates a lot of things from other cultures. It's not just French you would learn from France, which is pretty much what you get in other curriculums. It's like, French from Côte d'Ivoire and French from basically all francophone nations.
Il y avait beaucoup de choses intéressantes que j'ai trouvées, par exemple, American history.
Need to know vocabulary, everyday vocabulary, to discuss issues. Try to focus a lot on society, environment, those kinds of things that are in the real world.
My name is Ian Bain, and I teach IB Spanish. You set certain standards for them that maybe in literature that will have nothing to do with the test, that you may encourage them to read.
It's great that you can read Spanish. Okay, look, I can read, I know what's going on. But communication is key. Communication is everything. And especially in this class, we have a lot of oral projects that are due. So we, brush up on our speaking skills and whatnot.
I would say that we push that the students become as bilingual as you can in the context of a classroom. Friends, music, cinema, travel, bilingualism, global warming, the future, university, things like that, that I think any kid in any context, any culture would want to discuss. So we believe it should be, our students should be able to handle that comfortably in Spanish.
And history is also really interesting. We're looking at Hitler and World War II and propaganda and stuff like that.
I'm Maura Ryan, I'm Dr. Ryan, and I've been teaching IB history here since we started the program.
I actually like history. That's kind of my favorite subject, especially European history. I'm Ukrainian, so I like learning about that area of the world. That's where my interests lie. So for me, the IB history class, the amount of depth that they can go into, so it really lets me like that class a lot.
There's a whole package of ideas and beliefs and values that go with that symbol.
It's a history of Europe, including Russia, and the actual curriculum begins with the French Revolution and goes through the 20th century. We begin the course sometime earlier than that, at least as far back as the year 1500. I'm attracted to the format of the IB program because of the fact that we can go into such depth.
You learn great analysis skills in history in terms of seeing different historical biases and also trying to figure out the causes of historical events rather than just knowing that the event happened.
Joseph Stalin of Russia is very important, of Soviet Union is very important. We do a lot of different kinds of readings about Stalin and we watch a video about him and so on. But we also put him on trial, which is a lot of fun, and it allows students to see the different points of view, of course in Stalin's case they're mostly negative, that people have towards Stalin and the way that one might defend Stalin's programs as beneficial.
For this course, man, this is really good. We have this teacher named Ms. Habib. You probably know her.
My name is Ms. Habib, and I've been teaching IB physics here at both the standard and higher level for as long as the IB program has been here at Springbrook. Standard level IB is your standard honors physics course that you would find at any good high school around the country. And your higher level IB is just these standard level topics, but in much greater detail. For higher level physics, you need 60 hours of lab over a 2-year period.
We are going to take this popper and we are going to measure the impact velocity, the time of the impact velocity, or the time of the sound it takes for this to snap.
So laboratories are a very intrinsic part of the curriculum. So yes, labs are a big part of the course, and it really allows them to understand the subject matter.
Because we learn about the kind of stuff that you see in Star Trek, and I'm being dead serious.
In every topic, we go into topics in greater detail that would be beyond your standard first-year topic. We look at statics, rotational and translational equilibrium in statics. We look at gravitation and gravitational potential and escape velocity in the Earth's gravitational field, which is not something we look at, in the first year.
If you guys are like juniors, don't do this. Last year, I doubled in sciences, so I took physics and chemistry, which I learned a lot. I also learned a lot about time management and not to do that ever again.
Springbrook is very fortunate. It offers many different areas in science. There's higher level biology. There's also a AP chemistry class, and you can take higher level chemistry as well. So Springbrook really it runs the gamut from physics, chemistry to biology. If you want to take a higher level course in any one of these sciences, you can do that.
I'm Kathy Stedman. This is my 3rd year of teaching IB topics. It's a broader range of topics. Traditionally in American things, we sort of take one topic and we go deep. the IB, the international model, is more broad. You get a lot of different kinds of topics, and you get enough into them to really know what's going on.
The math class was cool because it wasn't always like you were working with numbers. You were working with numbers and how they relate to your life. Like not doing your taxes, but we, for example, tested like the correlation between race and music preference at Springbrook.
They are required to do a project. It is an in-depth project, individual projects. They get a topic, they generate the data. They can take it offline, but somehow they have to come up with data. They can do surveys, and then organize the data, and then form math on it, things, statistical analysis.
I'm also in higher level math, which is it's an interesting class. It's not easy per se. What you do, well, we spent a while learning about abstract algebra, where you kind of learn about like the relationships of numbers.
My name is Jonathan Mann, and I've been teaching at Springbrook for 7 years, but teaching the IB for 4 years, 5 years. Usually art is considered to be a minor subject or an elective, but in the IB program it is considered an academic.
It's amazing. You have to pick a theme or a focus, and you can't BS it. It really has to be like a passion you have. And for me, I incorporated my own like personal experience and life into my art. And I found that I've really grown as a person.
And that's what the students realize about art. It's thinking totally outside the box. And they realize as they're working, yes, they might have a theme or a focus, but that all these things are related. They see the sciences, the math, the English, the literature, mythology, everything, religion, philosophy, all of it is comprised in their work.
The IB theater program gives a student the opportunity to explore and appreciate and understand the nature of theater and all of its components. The emphasis is on many different aspects of theater. We're talking about performance, we're talking about world studies, which is very different from other types of theater programs.
And I know you're going to be terribly upset, but please don't make me drop out of the... What did you say?
Oh, I'm in the play too.
You mean with actors and costumes and everything?
And I think it gives them a perspective of the history of the theater as well as contemporary theater, and allows them the opportunity, as I said earlier, to explore every single aspect of it. It truly is an international kind of theater program.
The course that I teach is Information Technology in a Global Society. We have several components. We have a project where students have to fix a real-life problem with an information technology solution. We also do knowledge. We learn about databases and spreadsheets and other elements of technology. And then we talk about social and ethical issues. And I think it's a great course. Like I said, we try not to do a lot of homework. We try to laugh a lot, but there are the IB requirements.
Theory of knowledge is sort of a different kind of course. I think one of the great assets of the International Baccalaureate program is it gives students access to this course. It's somewhat of an epistemology course, which basically looks at how we know what we know.
Basically, it's just a structured dialogue. You talk about subjects, general subjects, but oftentimes in class you end up talking about very specific applications to life, specifically like race or economic or social problems.
Pretty much anything is open for discussion in TOK because you can really relate it to any of the ways of knowing and perception, emotion, things like that.
We sort of systematically look at these different areas, but we also intersperse these conversations with provocative articles that will hopefully challenge young people to question the assumptions on which many of their own thinking rests.
The subtle things that we assume are socially constructed could very well have an innate biological foundation.
So it's a reflective class, I think, by nature. It really encourages young people to produce their own knowledge rather than read a lot of information that they're being exposed to the first time, to reflect on the information they've already learned and question it in different ways. The extended essay is frequently, I think, the most difficult part of the IB program. The 4,000-word essay requires students to do quite a bit of research, but then to consider how students want to assemble the pieces of what they learn, and in hope of producing a novel argument. The IB folks recognize that CAS, which stands for Creativity Action Service, that IB students are overwhelmed, they work very hard, and they try to counterbalance that academic rigor with a more holistic approach. But the action component is readily straightforward. It has to do often with athletics, with physical motion of some kind. The service component is also relatively straightforward. It involves community service, philanthropy. A lot of our students choose to do mentoring. The creativity component is somewhat difficult to understand. The way the International Baccalaureate organization describes it is they want people to create something in a social context. I don't care what curriculum you put in front of me. As far as I'm concerned, it's the teachers and students that bring to life any curriculum.
Well, the teachers at IB are really cool. I think they're, in a way, they're more worldly than some of the other teachers.
I think we have wonderful teachers here in terms of our IB program.
They're the best. I talk a lot, so when I say something short, believe it, they're the best.
What really makes the IB program good is the teachers. If it wasn't for my history teacher, Dr. Ryan, and junior year, Mr. Wexler, and also Miss Mantello, who's pretty much a literary genius.
Mr. Bain and Madam Willits are phenomenal in terms of our foreign language piece. Our scores are through the roof. We always do phenomenally well. They're a great dynamic duo, Batman and Robin.
I'm pretty pleased with our overall quality of teachers. There is special training that goes into preparing a teacher for IB, as there is for AP.
They're very in-depth. They don't talk down to you or patronize you in any way. And that's really cool to be taught by someone that sees you as like competent, doesn't try to spoon feed you, they try to challenge you.
IB is a small learning community, and that kind of is the incentive or the push, if you will, in Montgomery County to have more small learning communities where students feel like they can rely on one another, but also rely on their teachers. They know each other, there's a lot of support.
I have a lot of classes with the same people, but I like that because these people are the people that want to succeed. They're the ones who, like myself, are looking for a challenge to prepare them.
Being in the IB program, I like the fact that I have talked to every single person in all of my classes, and I don't think I would have done that in a course outside of the IB program. And also just, we like to rant, and we rant together, and that's like a bonding thing.
We have mentoring programs and things inside the program, and we often, we do a lot of things that just make it seem even more like a family. Like the holidays are coming up, so we're doing a Secret Santa or...
I think ideally the IB program is set up to really foster community, and it's supposed to be a cooperative endeavor.
I'm not the kind of kid who goes out and parties and stays out late. I'd rather hang out with a couple of close buddies, friends. Anyway, so that's what I do. Like, I still have time for the people who I really care about.
You're with the same people, more or less, for 2 years of high school. So half of your high school career will be spent with this group of people who you already know since they've done the program. They have similar views than you do, as you do, and even if they don't, they're still open with this whole multicultural business to accept yours and entertain your ideas.
It becomes kind of an IB family in a way, because you have the same class, same people over and over again, and if you don't like those people, tough, you have to learn to like them because you see them every day and you have classes with them every day, and you'll often have to pull a study group together and see them on the weekends, and then your friends in IB will be friends with them, so you'll have to learn to get along anyway.
In IB, as far as the IB community, in that sense, in this actual classroom setting, I'm actually learning from my peers. I'm not only learning from the teacher.
The classes, the classes are IB classes, so it's only IB kids who are in it. But socially, like, I personally hang out with about as many IB kids as kids who are not in IB.
Every time someone asks an IB kid, how are you doing? The typical answer is, oh, I'm so tired. But the truth is, it's true every time. Like, you are going to lose sleep during this program, but I think it's worth the accomplishment of producing some really amazing pieces of work.
Kind of like aggressively tackle the work and really build your mind.
Last year, I played a sport every single season, and I still managed to average 3.8 or so. I had a 4.0, but then it kind of dropped off a little.